Hey, so I'm back at SAFEngineering, visiting Nick Stewart and checking progress on Old Blue, my vintage SCCA Datsun 1200. As you can see, my office now has an office chair, but there's been a lot more that's been going on with the car as well. So if I can just extract myself from here, I'll show you around. So the seat's in place, as you can see, but it was a real bastard of a job actually getting it to fit. This being a small car and me being a fairly big dude. Now I'm 6 foot 2 inches tall, and while I'm not exactly fat, I'm not exactly skinny either. And these modern race seats, like this Race Tech that I've purchased here, which is covered in plastic at the moment, they're quite bulky seats. They do take up a lot of space, and a lot more space than seats from sort of 40 odd years ago. And what we found was that these side intrusion bars that have been on the car since about 1981-82, when Mike Eby first bought the car off its original owner, Ron Leonard. We just couldn't get the seat in next to these bars. The main problem that we had were these two crossbars here, down the bottom here. Initially, the way that Mike Eby had built the car, these two bars were actually side by side, and so they really intruded inside the car quite a lot, and that was one of the big problems that we were having with space. We just physically couldn't get the seat to go in there, and we even tried a smaller seat, and that didn't fit either. So eventually Nick cut those two bars out and fabricated and installed two bars that intersect each other, so they take up a lot less space and a lot less width. The other problem then was with the top bar. So originally the top bar that was fitted to the car was joined to the roll cage about here, and we discovered that around this side here, where the seat curves around here up the top, it wasn't possible to fit the seat in there and have the bar there, even though the bar itself actually bends outwards into the door. So Nick has instead removed the top bar as well, and he's fabricated up this new top bar which follows the exact same curve of the original top bar, in that it bends into the door, and we've still got a hole in the door and everything here, but this bar is mounted about 40 millimeters lower. But once the roll cage has all been painted, this will all look like an original. This will all look like like the original roll cage. And so yeah, he's had to make changes, but he's done so in such a way that it looks like the original parts. So yeah, so we're pretty pleased with that, and like I say, the seat is in there. I don't think there's much movement in the seat. We can't take it forward too much, but we're in, and so that's all that matters. Now, coming down to the back, you'll remember in one of the earlier episodes that I put together on this car, I said that the New Zealand motorsport safety regulations required that the roll cage not extend rearward of the back axle, which this one did. But you can see just down here, here we go. This is where the original roll cage finished, and so I wasn't allowed to keep that. If I wanted to race the car in New Zealand, the car had to comply with New Zealand motorsport safety standards. And so what Nick has done is he's fabricated and fit two new bars coming down from the B-pillar hoop, and as you can see, these mount beautifully on the top of the rear inner wheel wells, which is one of the other reasons why we had to add in the new tubbing that joined the wheel well to the bodywork, because obviously this wheel well, or these wheel wells, are now going to take a lot more force because the roll cage is attached directly to them, whereas before it didn't. What he has done though is he's basically made the cage look like it fits, like this. These new additions look like they fit with the cage as it was. And in fact, these two diagonal bars here that come from the floor and come up and meet this this diagonal brace here, those are exactly the same as the bars that were originally in the car as well. So yeah, and same with these. If you look at these horizontal bars that come from the B pillar hoop back to the rear structure here, those are exactly the same as the bars that were there originally too. So you've got, because of a safety harness, have to have a horizontal bar behind the driver's seat, and that's what that there is. And he could have just carried this bar straight along here, but we wanted to continue the look of the cage, this being an American race car, and American race cars having quite distinctive looking roll cages. He instead carried the this extra bar across here down to basically on a similar angle. If you look at all the three bars, they all sort of run in that same direction there over to the bottom side, the bottom right side of the car. So I absolutely love it. I think it looks absolutely perfect, and it's going to make the car stronger and more rigid, and it'll be safer. But it looks like it could have all been done in period. Other than the amazing welding, check out his welding. This guy is talented. I really love nice welding, and he does nice welds. So yeah, that's really it. So he's underneath the car. He's also fabricated and fitted some seatbelt mounts, and down the back here, I'll show you. He's also fabbed up some new. There we go. Fabbed up some new rear suspension mounting brackets is here. These are height adjustable. The ones that were on the car were actually made of alloy, and one of them are broken, which doesn't surprise me. It probably broke when the car was crashed back in 2006. But yeah, these, like I say, these are height adjustable. These are super strong, and yeah, and so we're pretty much good to go under here. This is one of the little 13 by 8 inch Revolution racing wheels that I've had made up for the car. So these are what I'm going to use for the car predominantly. We've still got the original American racing Vector wheels that have been on the car since the 70s, about 1976, 77 or so. I'll keep these, I'll restore these, but I'll just basically keep them as wet weather wheels and put a set of wet weather tyres on them. But predominantly I'll be running the car on these Revolutions. And I did actually, I've been keeping Ron Leonard up to date with progress on the car. He's been really enjoying it. He's the guy, of course, that originally built and raced this car back in the 1970s. He said if he had the money back in the day, he would have fit a set of Revolutions to it, so I'm quite pleased about that. So I'm kind of carrying on in the spirit of what he would have liked to have done if money were no object. So yeah, these are cool. And so the list of jobs still to do is getting shorter and shorter, and it mostly just includes things like filling up some of the holes. We've got a lot of holes in the firewall here for various things that people have fitted over the years, most of which we don't need. So really just filling up some of the holes, and we're just going to be just making some modifications here to the bracket that's holding the steering wheel shaft in place. I've got to buy another steering wheel because unfortunately this one here is bent. But yeah, the list of jobs is definitely getting shorter, and I'm hoping that that I should be able to actually bring it home to my place in the next couple of weeks, and then we can start to get into some of the smaller detail stuff, such as paintwork and fit and finish and things like that. And so that's really exciting. It's actually been here for a year now. Originally it came here for what we thought was going to be maybe a week, just to straighten out the bent rocker panels and do a little bit of repair work on the floors. But yeah, it's just turned into a bit of a major job. The workmanship that Nick's carried out on this car has just blown me away, and I couldn't be happier. It's been in such good hands. But I have to say, I am really excited to get it home too.